You can buy a wholesale fax at Office Max, Circus City, so on and so forth. They roughly run from $200 on up. Plain paper faxes are real low today. They're about $650. You put those on your credit card, they're $25, $30 a month. You know, don't buy the very, very cheapest fax. If it's $200, try to buy the one for $220 because it'll have just those little extra features that'll be important.
Well, I haven't gotten my fax yet. I've been using Philip Chamberlain's fax, and it's working fine. But I'm getting a whole computer thing, and we want the laser fax, so we've been shopping. But I think I'll have it within the next week, so I'll be online. It's been a bit of a handicap not to have a fax, but you don't know what's going on if you don't have a fax and get on Ken's Patriot Network, because that's where the truth is coming from. As fast as he can get it, he puts it right out. And I have been so enamored with this way of getting around the media. They can't stop that. If the phones go off one place, we'll go to another phone. It's amazing, the flexibility of that fax machine. And Mike has been in there pitching, making copies, and doing. Mike, do you have something you'd like to say before we close? Mike, would you like to say something before we close?
I think you pretty well summed it up.
He says send money.
My address is 3790 Hazelwood, number 11, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89119. One more time. 3790 Hazelwood, number 11, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89119.
And whether he said it or not, Ken's phone's lines are being shut off on the 7th. All right, and I'm not trying to wiggle out of this thing, but it's going to put a big load on me after that. So help this guy out, please.
Why are they being shut down?
Yeah, I had a call from Suntel this morning, and they first time that they called and said that you're using these telephone lines as a business, and I says no, I'm not. I'm using these lines and I fax my friends, and they says, well, you call it a different name. I says it's still my private lines, and I can call anything I want on these lines, and I can have as many friends as I want on these lines, and no, this is not a business. So we went on for a moment, and I says, well, fine, have your lawyer send me something, and I'll have my lawyer send you something, and we'll go from there.
Well, they would love to shut him down. They have, and we've gotten it back on. You remember at the Breakfast Club, we took a collection and got it back on one time in the middle of the summer. And they would love to do that. What? I can't even. Well, we are going to keep this network going, this Patriot Network going. It just has to, yes.
Here's what you're saying. I have a Patriot, but I live on wheels. I have a fax machine, but someone seldom has a phone hooked to it. Sometimes I go through cellular. Sometimes I go on amateur radio. Does anybody, any other amateur radio amateurs here?
Yeah, you need to contact Mike. We have many people in our nodes all over the country, in different cities all over the country. And once you get acquainted with other people in our downlink, if you don't have a fax, everybody I know is happy to supply information to anybody. We fax many places, like the preparedness, and people go down to the preparedness and get copies every day. So many of the people on our downlink work with all of their friends, and they expand the information to that. That's how we can be in many places at once because of all of the other people that participate in the network. So.
Amateur radio, it's supposed to be according to the SEC regs point to point. So one person can fax to another with 500.
Right. We have some really strong people that are in the amateur radio business, and I'll be happy to give you their names and numbers. And they're all over the airways with this stuff in the amateur radio thing, and it's a very, very big part of our network is the radio networks and the amateur radio network.
We are also going to connect with the Breakfast Club in Tucson. I had a call from them this morning, and Bo did this. He was talking about the others and Ed Presley, how they had spoken at the other breakfast clubs. Well, I hadn't gone outside of Las Vegas at all, but now I'm going to speak in Tucson, and we're going to form a real coalition of patriots with the breakfast clubs. We're not going to let anything go undone. Now, I want you all to know that Ray Borders will have copies of this video, and hopefully I'll have the one tomorrow to play here. And anyone that wants them, if they call Ray, he will provide you with a copy of what Wilma had to say and what Ken has had to say. And I can't delete what I had to say, so you'll have to listen to that also.
Give Ray's number.
And I want you to have Ray's phone number, which is 791-3445. 791-3445.
And his fax number is 791-34... 2.
Does he have a fax?
You bet.
I didn't know that, Ray. Well, that's marvelous. I'll use yours until I get mine.
You got it out of a hock shop.
Well, maybe I've been going to the wrong places to shop. Anyway, it's marvelous that we could meet Wilma and, Catherine, and she reminds me of someone by that name. And what a gentle, sweet person.
And the
Davidians,
normal family.
Can you picture people like her burning up? I can't stand it. And shot?
What would you do if they come in shooting your roof down?
Well, I'd cover my head.
You'd be pretty scared.
I don't know what I would do, but she wasn't always up front and privy to everything that was going on.
Pretty much.
She was living a very normal life, but she was very close to David. I think she loved him.
Many of the Davidians, because she'd been a Davidian for over 25 years, even the adults were like her children to her. I mean, it's really a very, very sad thing here.
Well, it's complete devastation, and it's in our country. We've been reading about it all my lifetime, what happens in other countries, but I always thought it'll never happen here. It couldn't happen here. We're solid. We have the Constitution. I have lived too long. I didn't want to live through this. To destroy this great country the way it is destroyed.
Thank you all very much. Lunch.
We have to keep the phones on. We just have to. If we don't eat, we've got to keep the fax phones on.
What was the last fax number you gave Kim? You gave that number, 79445?
3442 is Ray Borders' fax number for a videotape of today's meeting.
A fax and the telephone. He's had his phone quite often, and if he isn't, leave it on the message and he'll get it. So thank you for taking up the collection.
Thank you very much.
I have a real nice group here, and tomorrow let's come back and let's see if we can't get some real ideas of what we can and will do. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
Don't have